In the quiet shallows of ponds, rice paddies, and slow-moving waterways, there exists a plant so small, so unassuming, that most people mistake it for algae. Yet this plant quietly performs a biological feat that modern agriculture still struggles to replicate, despite billions of dollars, decades of research, and genetically modified crops. This plant makes its own fertilizer. It grows without nitrogen inputs, and in terms of productivity per square meter, it can outperform GMO corn. Its name is Azolla. Azolla is a tiny floating fern, no larger than a fingernail. But hidden within its leaves is a microscopic partner that changes everything. Living inside Azolla is a cyanobacterium called Anabaena azollae, a nitrogen-fixing organism that pulls nitrogen directly from the air and converts it into plant-available fertilizer. No chemicals, no factories, no fossil fuels, just biology. This means Azolla does something extraordinary. It fertilizes itself. Nitrogen is the lifeblood of modern agriculture. Crops like corn, wheat, and rice are hungry for it, but nitrogen fertilizers don't come cheap. It leaches into rivers, creates dead zones in oceans, pollutes drinking water, and damages soil biology. Yet without it, high-yield industrial farming collapses, or so we are told. Azolla breaks that dependency entirely. The fern and its bacterial partner form a perfectly synchronized system. As Azolla grows, Anabaena fixes nitrogen continuously, supplying the plant with everything it needs. Excess nitrogen leaks into the surrounding water and soil, fertilizing nearby crops. In rice paddies, farmers have known this for over 1,000 years. Before synthetic fertilizers existed, Asian farmers intentionally cultivated Azolla as a living fertilizer, and it worked. So, this is where the story becomes, well, a little uncomfortable. Under ideal conditions, Azolla can actually double its biomass in as little as 2 to 5 days. Per hectare, it can produce more protein than soybeans. And per square meter, it can generate more usable biomass than corn, without any fertilizer inputs at all. Its protein content ranges from 25 to 35%, which is honestly comparable to high-quality animal feed. Azolla has been successfully used as livestock feed for cattle, pigs, and poultry. It's also been used as fish feed in aquaculture, as green manure for rice, as a compost accelerator, as a biofertilizer, and even as a carbon sink. And unlike GMO corn, it requires no patented seed, needs no nitrogen fertilizer, grows in water instead of farmland, and just regenerates endlessly from fragments. So why isn't it everywhere? Well, it's because Azolla doesn't really fit the system. It can't be patented easily, and it actually reduces fertilizer sales. It thrives without chemicals, and honestly, it empowers farmers to produce fertility right on site. In fact, Azolla is so effective that in several countries, it's been labeled an invasive species. Not because it poisons ecosystems, but just because it grows way too efficiently when the conditions are right. Governments and agencies spend millions every year controlling, spraying, and eradicating it from waterways. And it's not because it's useless, it's just because it's basically uncontrollable. Azolla spreads rapidly in nutrient-rich water. This is often framed as a threat. But if you look a little closer, Azolla doesn't actually create pollution. It responds to it. When water is overloaded with nutrients from fertilizer runoff, Azolla just explodes in growth, locking nitrogen back into biomass instead of letting it flow downstream into rivers and oceans. It really is a biological cleanup crew. Yet, instead of using it as a solution, we end up poisoning it with herbicides, adding even more chemicals to already damaged ecosystems. Azolla has already changed the planet once. Around 49 million years ago, a massive Azolla bloom in the Arctic is believed to have absorbed so much carbon dioxide that it helped trigger global cooling, ending a greenhouse Earth phase. Today, scientists recognize Azolla as one of the fastest carbon sequestering plants known. It grows rapidly, it captures carbon efficiently, and when composted or incorporated into soil, that carbon stays put, all without genetic modification. Azolla represents a different agricultural future, one that doesn't depend on centralized inputs, patented genetics, or chemical dependency. It challenges fertilizer corporations, industrial monocropping, and chemical weed control models. It gives farmers fertility that just regenerates itself. And, well, systems that can't control a resource often choose to destroy it instead. Azolla doesn't promise profit margins measured in quarterly reports. It promises resilience. It works with biology, not against it. It feeds soil instead of exhausting it. It turns sunlight, air, and water into fertility. No factories, no emissions, no dependency, just a tiny fern, floating silently on the surface of the water. In a world searching desperately for sustainable solutions, Azolla waits, unimpressed by our machines, untouched by our patents. A plant that makes its own fertilizer, outgrows engineered crops, and threatens an entire industry simply by existing. Sometimes the most powerful solutions are the ones we've been trying to erase.